Final bosses get too much credit. While an extravagant one-on-one battle to finish off a game can be incredibly satisfying, it's often a well-crafted final mission that resonates with players more than a single takedown. After all, it's never about the destination, but the journey, right? Acting as accumulation and final challenge of all the skills you've acquired over the course of the title, last levels have the ability to draw on all of the gameplay mechanics and skills you've learned over the game, making for a smorgasbord of experiences. Whether it's the bombastic climax of Halo Combat Evolved or the unassuming twist at the end of Red Dead Redemption, there are just some last levels that no gamer will ever forget playing through. With this in mind, I'm Jules from WhatCulture.com, and here are 10 of the greatest end levels in video game history. Number 10. Aircraft Carrier, CRYSIS. Aliens, Hawaiian shirts and explosions. Sign me the up. Having escaped to sea on an aircraft carrier, your transport is suddenly bombarded by an alien menace that you had seemingly all but eluded up to this point, leading to one of the most explosive missions ever featured in Crytek's first-person shooting series. With the entire carrier crumbling around you, there's a certain sense of emergency imbued into Crysis's final level. Blasting your way through a sinking ship while aliens tear through the hull like it was tissue paper, resulting in a disorientating flood hitting you at every single angle, feels genuinely cinematic. And you truly get the sense that you're fighting on the back foot after being taken by surprise by a smarter, better equipped enemy. As comrades are being brutally murdered all around you, it's up to exoskeleton-clad Nomad to take on the invading forces, hold off the enemies and go down in a literal blaze of glory. Absolutely sublime. Number 9. A Just Cause. Just Cause 2. Just Cause 2 is ridiculous. Embracing the wacky anarchy of the campiest 80s action movies, Avalanche Studios' open-world sandbox game has you doing some insane things during the course of the title's playtime. However, you've seen nothing until you found yourself boarding an atomic submarine to stop it from launching missiles in the game's final mission. But for those of you unimpressed at the thought of stopping nuclear missiles in a video game, you might want to know that you don't actually prevent the nukes from being launched in Just Cause 2. Instead, you'll have to chase after them, catching a ride on the back of the bombs while fighting off like-minded enemies who don't want you to defuse the explosives. And these boys are committed to earning that paycheck, I can tell you. So in summary, the finale has you literally getting headshots while riding atomic bombs. If that doesn't make you want to fire up Just Cause 2 immediately, then nothing ever will. Number 8. CRADLE, GolDENEye 007. Just like its movie's namesake, the finale of GolDENEye takes place atop a radio antenna about as big as my own. However, what is clearly a waking nightmare for any Vertigo sufferer is turned into the setting of one of the most memorable first-person shooter levels ever. In an intense climax, you're tasked with chasing Sean Bean's Trevelyan across the skyline. Well, it's supposed to be Sean Bean, but with N64 graphics you could say the character model was supposed to be Shania Twain and everyone would believe you. And you've got to stop him from arming the GolDENEye satellite firing mechanism. It's frustrating for sure, and the chase will see you falling off the level more than not. However, it's the ending of this level that gives the perfect closing line. In classic Bond fashion, once you finally cornered Trevelyan, he cranks up the cliched movie villain mugging to stratospheric levels, mocking you with a smug, "For England, James?" just before you put enough bullets in him to send him flying off the tower, but not before delivering a cool, "No, for me, revenge has never felt so sweet." Number 7. One card left to play, Max Payne 3. The entire point of Max Payne is that the character you're playing isn't the typical action hero, a drunken, out-of-shape mess that makes me look like a bodybuilder by comparison. The titular Max stumbles through levels without an ounce of grace, haphazardly shooting everything in sight like an American police officer. Oh, that roast. It's actually a rather refreshing approach to a third-person shooter, as the sense of weight and momentum that comes with being Max adds a sense of tactile believability to every gunfight. And the title's final level provides the perfect playground for Max's newfound love of anarchy, embodying the game's sense of the cinematic perfectly as you chase down the game's antagonist through a series of perfectly paced firefights. As the tension ramps up and the music swells to the beat of your explosive punishment, blowing through hundreds of faceless goons has never felt so satisfying. Number 6. KILN of the First Flame, Dark Souls. There's something so fitting about the overbearing apocalyptic gloom of Dark Souls' final stage. It kind of reminds me of Scotland for some reason, maybe because of the open fires with people huddling around and others ready to attack with no provocation. Anyway, it's not like the rest of the game was full of sunshine and rainbows, but the KILN of the First Flame just pulsates with a sense of poetic artistry that makes the decaying fortress that you're fighting in such a perfect setting for the final encounter. Not only that, but the long slog that you've got to go through to face the final boss feels as punishing and as drawn out as you might expect from a From Software game. Although it should be debilitating making the same long journey, fighting your way through the same Black Knights over and over again only to reach the Lord of Cinder and having him annihilate you with a few powerful strikes, Dark Souls' final level never loses its gloomy, inspiring charm, even after 30 or so attempts to turn that dusty old dick back to dirt. Number 5. Citadel, Half-Life 2. All the way through Half-Life 2, you find yourself thinking, man, this gravity gun is great, but wouldn't it just be perfect if I could actually just throw dudes around with it? Well, not being ones to disappoint their fans, in the last level of the shooter, Valve gave players the ability to go absolutely nuts with this iconic gun. Early in the game's final mission, everyone's favourite physics-based weapon is given a power-up that lets players toss around bad guys like they're made out of clay. Hilarity ensues. By the time you make it to that last level, you feel like you can take on the world, and with the help of this souped-up gravity gun, you practically can. Even better, the imaginative level design and gripping narrative climax complemented this newfound power perfectly. Everything about the finale of Half-Life 2 just clicked. With a great map to fight your way through, a now iconic weapon, and a genuinely jaw-dropping cliffhanger, it's no wonder why Valve's Epic went down as one of the greatest games ever made. Number 4. Ganon's Castle, The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. Ganon's Castle, the final dungeon in the iconic Ocarina of Time, boasts such a wide variety of challenges and secrets that it's a no-brainer why both the location and quest have gone down in Legend of Zelda history as being one of the series' most defining levels. Balancing the need to break each elemental barrier blocking your path while fighting your way through the tower itself, the castle acts like a tour de force in video game level design. Testing every skill that you've learned up to this point, this maze-like tower is both challenging and daunting, yet structured in a way that navigating through it never becomes overbearing. Keeping the pace building to fever pitch that culminates in a final two-parter boss battle against Ganondorf, everything about this dungeon feels epic in both scale and design. Starting out at the tower's doorstep to eventually sealing the Dark Beast Ganon away for good, this challenging tower acts as a perfect build-up to a near-perfect boss battle. Number 3. Chapter 15. Welcome. Spec Ops: The Line. Throughout Spec Ops: The Line, you're given the sense that your playable character, Captain Walker, like me at Download Festival this year, is slowly giving in to his own animalistic insanity. Through a series of ultra-violent and harsh executions, often caused directly by the player themselves, there's always an unnerving feeling that you're not actually playing as the good guy. Finally storming the fortress of the game's antagonist Conrad in the final mission, you're given the directive to simply kill everything that moves. However, what would have felt like a generic final order in any other game is delivered with particularly grim undertones in Jaeger Development's first-person shooter. Injecting a sense of almost apocalyptic depravity in the mission's opening firefights, things soon take a turn for the surreal as you finally come face-to-face with Conrad, who then recontextualizes the entire game in a twist revelation that's delivered in a series of nightmarish fourth-wall-breaking sequences. Up to this point, you were given the feeling that your character was slowly slipping into insanity, but until this final chapter's embrace of dreamlike gameplay, you just didn't know how far he'd fallen from grace. Number 2. Halo. Halo 3. Paying homage to the original Halo Combat Evolved's final level, the third entry's series-ending, well, it was at the time, finale came full circle, seeing the player attempt to escape a crumbling Halo ring exploding all around them. Navigating the constantly changing terrain while the Arbiter rained fire from the Warthog's turret felt epic, and with the series-defining score blaring in the background, it was hard not to feel an emotional engagement to this adrenaline-fueled climax. The fact that 3 games worth of story was culminating in one final explosive hurrah was just incredible. More than anything else though, playing through Halo 3's final mission felt as if you were playing a piece of gaming history in the making. The perfect end to a genre-defining trilogy. Number 1. Suicide Mission, Mass Effect 2. If an entire game is centered around the build-up to a single mission, then you bloody well better hope that that mission is actually worth the 20 hours of preparation players have had to put into it. Pinning the entire plot of Mass Effect 2 around a single suicide mission could have been as disastrous for BioWare as the final sections of Fable 3. Shame, endless shame on that ending, I will not forgive you. But fortunately, BioWare, like me in bed, managed to pull off the impossible. The level works so well because it actually lives up to its provocative name. Although more missions than you can count will have been described as suicide mission in video games before, it's rare that they actually feel dangerous and usually just end up with everyone getting out alive with the exception of maybe a few red shirts. But with Mass Effect 2, the last quest more than lived up to its moniker. By planning tasks around the wrong teammates, not making the right preparations in the lead up to this battle, or just not making them quick enough, every choice you take in this sequel's final mission can get any member of the squad you've been building up and connected with brutally murdered. Oh god, the pressure. Even worse, completely mess up and even you can be killed permanently. There's no reload or restarting from a checkpoint. Make too many mistakes, not only can you get your entire squad killed, but the series' main protagonist can end up biting the dust too, resulting in a canonical ending where nobody survives. And that's our list. Got any lead-ups to legendary endings that you'd like to let us know about? Then drop them in the comments section below. And if you want to tell me personally how it's all gonna end, then you can do so here and here. If you enjoyed the video, like, share and subscribe. I've been Jules for WhatCulture.com, and I'll see you soon.